So, what do we have here? It looks like another rainy afternoon. But, more importantly, it looks like another film. And what is this film about, I hear you ask? Well, of course, I'll tell you. It's about the election. You may have guessed. During an election, there's a lot of exhibitionism and showmanship in the full glare of the media, so I thought it might be interesting to make a small one-man film on my own, talking to people who are directly involved in the election and what they have to do with it and their opinions of what the outcome might be. Of course, by the time anyone sees this, everyone already knows what the ending of the film will be, but we'll try and make it interesting. So, here we go.
So I'm Kate O'Connell, I'm running in Dublin Bay South for Fine Gael. It's the new constituency of Dublin Bay South, which has been extended. It's a 4-seater constituency, covers Dublin 6, Dublin 4 and Dublin 6W, and part of Dublin 8. I live in Rathgar, which is in the centre of the constituency, with my husband and 3 children. In the lead up to the election, I suppose we set out with a task to try and to get people back to work, to try and restore the public finances. We have, I suppose, together with the persistence and resilience of the Irish people, ended up in a situation where there's 135,000, actually 140,000 more jobs than there were 5 years ago. And people are starting to return home from abroad. So we're achieving, to some extent, what we set out to do from a very low base. And I think the government's work isn't finished, and we'd like to see, obviously, getting back to full employment, to replace all those jobs, or to restore all those jobs that were lost, the 300,000 jobs that were lost because of the mismanagement of the economy by Fianna Fáil and the Greens.
A lot of polls have said that Fianna Fáil are up. Is that just...
Well, I suppose...
Why is that, do you think?
I really don't know. The first thing is that, I mean, the country is recovering, but it hasn't recovered. People are still suffering from the mismanagement of the economy. So I don't really see why Fianna Fáil are where they are. But as my father says, there's the incurable 22% that will always vote Fianna Fáil. So maybe that's the reason why.
Super mom. She's one of these soccer moms, you know. She has family, spouse, kids to go to school, a business to run. There are 26 hours in Kate's day.
That's the way
she fills all of them. She's got energy and drive, and she's committed to making life better, not just in Rathgar, in South Dublin and Dublin Bay South. We need more like her, you know, people with a business background that are prepared to push the political agenda to make it more accommodating for Irish people. Jobs, opportunities, education, healthcare.
Sorry, stretch.
And do you feel it is something lacking in politics, business knowledge?
Absolutely. We got teachers, lawyers running the country. What do they know about the private sector? 80% of the economy is the private sector. We don't want sectional interests or special interests running the country. We want people who keep the country alive and going. People like Kate, who know what it's got to do and where it's got to go.
Last night during the final leaders' debate, viewers got a stark reminder of the Golden Circle, the Galway Kent politics of Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil, who will be appointing their cronies and friends to positions of influence in the state for decades. And then Kenny finally admitted to appointing his party's former Seanad nominee John McNulty in the Irish Museum of Modern Art. Despite promising a democratic revolution, Enda Kenny has kept Fianna Fáil's legacy of cronyism and that culture of corruption and political patronage alive and well. So they have a choice, as Mildred has said. They should exercise their vote. It's their day. We're saying let's have a peace on the British collusion. The British will not give that family, those families, the information that they...
It was good to talk to Kate O'Connell. She seemed really smart and talked a lot of sense, I thought. It was cool too to go to the press conference and see the Irish media in full flow. But I wasn't sure. I felt I wasn't achieving anything or getting anywhere. I started to wonder if I really wanted this film to be successful, I would have to go out on the streets and talk to people I could identify with more easily and speak to more directly.
Me and Phil, a good friend of mine who's just gone to the toilet, actually, we're sitting here, we're fasting for 5 days to try and highlight the absence of any significant debate on what really by any measure is the most pressing issue that faces humanity at the moment, which is climate change. Yeah, I mean, it's not, I suppose it's no coincidence that we're doing it during election time. It's not necessarily a party political protest. I'm not involved in any political party, but I think it's just the general election has really highlighted the lack of political will to try and combat climate change. So that's probably why we're here at the moment, and hopefully through our actions we can force people to actually consider it and debate it. The environmental movement needs to realise that this problem is so drastic and so big and needs such a radical solution that it's no longer enough to pursue traditional methods of protest like lobbying and sending letters, and that we now need to maybe start considering more extreme ways of protest, because otherwise I don't think we're going to be able to get the radical transformation that's necessary.
And final question, how long are you on protest for, hunger strike for?
We're fasting for 5 days. So
5 days.
We finish on Friday, certainly Monday we finish on Friday.
So today is day 3 of the hunger strike.
Yeah.
Are you hungry?
It kind of goes away. Buying hunger kind of goes away. I think it's a more mental battle than anything else.
My name's Diana O'Dwyer. I'm running for Anti-Austerity Alliance Youth for Profit in the Dublin Centre constituency in the election, and one of the main reasons that I'm running is I'm really trying to make repealing the 8th Amendment and getting women abortion rights in Ireland an election issue, and making it a real red line issue that politicians aren't able to avoid, because like all of the establishment parties have been really refusing to deal with this issue of basic women's rights for decades now. So I'm here with a load of women from ROSA, which is a women's rights group that I'm involved in. Last year I was involved in the abortion pill bus tour of Ireland, where we went around Ireland helping women access abortion pills in defiance of the ban on abortion. And so together with that is also my election campaign, trying to really galvanise support around this issue. Like, there's been a really big shift in public opinion on abortion rights just in the last few years, particularly with the whole successful gay marriage referendum. People see that it is possible to get progressive change in Ireland. So that's why I'm making this big issue in my election campaign, and it's on all my posters like pro-choice, repeal the 8th, you know.
And is this your first time running? Sorry.
Yeah, I've never run for anything before.
Oh,
but, like,
awesome.
I've been an activist like for like a good few years now, like 7
Yeah,
or 8
yeah.
years. So yeah.
Where they stand on this issue with the general election, even though they're coming looking for all those. Do you think this is great?
It's ridiculous. In your body are different to the cells that are in your body when you're in the room. It's not scientific. You're not stating the truth. The blood, it's a separate being. You've got to face that fact.
It's not.
Now you say it's your body.
It is my
Fine,
body.
it is your body, but it doesn't mean you're entitled to take away the life of
I'm
another.
entitled to decide if something is going to grow inside me or not. I get to decide facts of my life. I'm a person. I get to decide.
You make that decision before you allow a child to conceive in your womb. That's when you make the decision.
Often it's not. It's not.
Actually, anything.
Accident.
Now.
Pregnancy and punishment. So
Pregnancy is not a punishment.
that's why doing a lot of city centre stalls, like mostly on abortion rights and repealing the 8, but I've done other ones as well on the whole housing crisis. We think there needs to be massive state investment in building, at least 100,000 social and affordable homes over the next 3 years. We need to get back into the state providing housing for people on an affordable level, and we also need rent controls. So that's like another big issue in my campaign as well. And then we've also done stuff on like migrant rights and things like that as well. So I'm kind of using the election campaign as a chance to raise different issues. I have been doing canvassing as well, but we've been doing a lot of city centre stuff because like the approach of the anti-austerity alliance is kind of different to other parties. Like our main approach is that we try and involve young people and women and workers in politics and get them involved in protest actions, and like we think that we need kind of mass movements of people power to get real change in society. So we're kind of using elections and using whatever positions we get when we do get elected, to push that. But really our main interest is people power and politics on the street as opposed to in the Dáil.
The next day I go back home to vote in Cork. At the moment the polls currently have Fine Gael on about 30%, Labour seem as good as dead, and the independents are definitely on the rise. Already everyone knows that. But right now, Fianna Fáil are an unknown entity.
I've just come in now and I voted, and happy to be able to vote. Over the last 5 years I think the government have done tremendous work in the educational field. But then the other side of the spectrum is the awful homelessness in our country. It seems to have got worse and worse, so that I'm very worried about, and would like to see more being done immediately on that area.
Well, I suppose they've done a lot in one way and they've done very little in other ways. It's an awful pity they couldn't have done more for the homeless and the people with the mortgages, and all that sort of thing seemed to be totally ignored. Just listening in the news a while ago, I heard that Slab Murphy got 18 months jail. Now, I wonder who's the bigger crook, Lowry or Slab Murphy?
I can't say that Renew are favour women in any sense of the word, because at the end of the day we're supposed to be going forward, and I think keeping Ireland in the dark ages where women's choice of what they do with their bodies are. First of all, I'm not a pro-abortion person, but I do think that if in this day and age where if women are going to have babies with fetal abnormalities that will not survive, you can't possibly have a party that's coming out in favour of making women continue pregnancies or being pro-life, or a situation that's going to be extremely detrimental to the mother, to the baby and to families afterwards.
Well, they've gone through the difficult things of sorting out the economy, which was left in a very bad state, and I know the government have said recovery, not everybody has felt it, but there is green shoots there and it is positive. We're going in a positive direction, so on that note I would like to see it going the same way, and that's why I hope to see them having a second term.
They're just kind of getting by. The big thing for me would be keeping the SNAs and not cutting costs for education and stuff like that. There's people in this world who need the help of a special needs assistant, and without them they wouldn't get where they are in places today, and it's just imperative to have an education, and why should a child be cut because of it? A friend that was in Cláiste and Fairshig in Glanmire, she graduated from UCC yesterday with a Masters in Government. She is blind, she can only see about 5 foot in front of her. So she wouldn't have got where she is yesterday without the help of SNAs. She didn't have one until she was 11. And then when she went to secondary school again, it was 3rd year before she got one. But she has 2 master's degrees in the bag now, all through hard work and the help of SNAs.
Some people say that the government don't have any power, that they only take their orders from Europe and Angela Merkel and all this. Do you think there's truth in that, or?
There is truth. There is a bit of both. They have to be. They're part of a European Union, which has its own leaders, and nationally they are running the country, doing as best as they can. But overall for Europe, obviously Germany is one of the leaders, and they'd like to see it going in the right direction. So whatever they say we'd have to probably abide by to keep the country going on the right track.
Well, from a farmer's point of view, we're okay.
There was no one called to the house for these elections this time, so a bit disappointing, you know. I expect someone to come, at least you could talk to somebody if you had something to say to them.
Things are very different back in the country. It's actually a little frightening. It's almost as if the country has been pulled in two different directions at once. That night it snows heavily for the first time in 5 years, and the next day I wake up to the news that Fianna Fáil have made massive gains. I miss my train by about 30 seconds. I will have to wait almost an hour for the next one. Things are very different back in the country.
So my name is Tracy, we're just outside the City Hall here in Cork. I'm a member of the Cork branch of Ireland Refugee Solidarity, and we set up during the summer at the height of the refugee crisis. A lot of us were seeing the images on the media of families desperately trying to get to Europe to safety, and you know, children washed up in the beaches, and just those really like agonising images. So we decided to do something about it. I suppose our aims were small at the start. We wanted to take some vans load of aid over to the refugee camp in Calais. We announced what we were doing on social media, and the campaign just blew up from there.
So like I said, the government have made a lot of promises. You feel they haven't delivered. Why is that?
Yeah, I feel the government haven't delivered because, as usual, they're sitting on the fence about actually doing something, you know, physically matching what the people of Ireland have wanted to. You know, people of Ireland have been fantastic over the summer in collecting aid, in raising money. You know, a lot of people even put their names down on websites to offer people beds in their houses. Like, the public have had an amazing reaction. So I really think now it's time the government stepped in and matched that and actually did something tangible for refugees.
Who do you think is going to get into government?
I don't know. In some ways, I think if Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael went in together, it would nearly be a good thing. It would push the right together, and we'd get rid of this illusion that there's some kind of choice between, you know, Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael. It's Tweedledee and Tweedledum. It's the same, and it might be a good thing for the country if they just were lumped together, and that was it. That's our right-wing party, and we, you know, now we can vote left and right instead of this like civil war politics and the illusion of a choice. So I actually hope, you know, that's maybe what happens.
My name is Betty O'Hurley, and this is my husband George. Now, it's a great day for Fianna Fáil. It looks like Billy Kelleher is going to top the poll, and Michael McGrath on the south side is going to top the poll, and Micheál Martin is going to come in after him. So overall, it's a brilliant day for Fianna Fáil.
And were you part of the campaign then?
I am actually. I was canvassing for the 3 weeks with Billy Kelleher.
Oh yeah, very good. And how did the campaign go?
The campaign went very well. I found at the doors we got a brilliant reception this time around. Got no hassle, you know. So I really enjoyed it, and today is a brilliant day for us.
What kind of things are people were people asking on the doors? Were they looking from Fianna Fáil as opposed to say Fine Gael maybe?
No water, homeless people, houses for the old people. That was mostly what the people were looking for, really. This time was brilliant. Last time it wasn't, really. And we had a brilliant local elections as well, which meant an awful lot to all of us. So that's it.
And what are Fianna Fáil looking to do in government that was different, say, from Fine Gael?
Well, I mean, definitely, I would like them to look at the old folks, like, and the homeless. They are two of the main things I would be looking for from Fianna Fáil, like.
Yeah. And do you think because Fianna Fáil kind of had a tough reputation coming out of the last government with the bank guarantee, the bailout, do you think that's kind of being forgotten or forgiven or whatever?
Yeah, well, I think it's being forgiven, like, it's long enough now. Every programme come on, and the Kelly keep harping back to the mistakes Fianna Fáil made. So I think Fianna Fáil, they need to forget them. That's all over and done with, like, as far as I'm concerned. We're a new party that's behind us.
And have Fianna Fáil learned from their mistakes of that?
Definitely. And with Micheál Martin, I think we have a brilliant leader there, Micheál Martin.
What has he learned then? What makes him such a good leader?
Well, basically he of actually learning from the mistakes of Fianna Fáil and was kind of coming forward and doing, I think our party doing way better.
Shane O'Mara is my name. I'm with the Labour Party.
And what kind of figures have you been getting this morning for the Labour Party? Either, well, start for maybe yourself and then maybe out wider.
So with Cork South Central, it's looking like about 4.5–5%. So we'll be coming in maybe 6th. Big disappointment for us. Going from a 5-seater to a 4 would be very difficult. But it looks like 2 Fianna Fáil taking about 40% of the vote. And then we'll get Simon Coveney's coming in, and then a fight between Sinn Féin and Jerry Buttimer then for the last seat. So very disappointed after a huge amount of effort and work, and Ciarán Lynch have worked very, very hard in the last couple of years, but it doesn't seem it's going to matter much today.
Are you in the election yourself? Sorry, yourself, or you're just in the campaign? Are you?
I'm just a member.
Oh yeah, very good. And what's going to happen to Labour after the government, after the election? Excuse me.
I think there's going to have to be a couple of weeks of reflection. I think contemplation. It's looking around the country. Maybe 7 members might get back in, 7 TDs with Labour. So I'm not sure that we're going to be even in the running for government spot. I think it's very, very difficult because the party have gone from 37 seats down to possibly 7, 8, which would be quite devastating. I think there shouldn't be any overreactions or knee-jerk reactions in the first few weeks. I think we need to take time to think about who we are as a party and who we're representing, and see what we're going to do for the future then. So it'll be a rebuilding project, basically.
What does the Workers' Party stand for here in Cork?
For the working class people.
And what are you looking to achieve with the Fine Gael Labour Party government hasn't achieved so far?
We want to get rid of water, property tax, the university service charge. We want to get rid of all them. They all came on when Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael took over 7 years ago. So hopefully they will be abolished.
Who's going to be in government this time next week?
Well, me saying prayers every night with me Rosie Bead, I think it'd be Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael and a couple of independents. That's what I think, because...
A rainbow coalition. Is that
yeah.
what you're saying, rainbow?
That's what I'd say now, they are.
Will Fine Gael go into government with Fianna Fáil?
Well, they say they won't, but they're crawlers in the long run. They'll go into power with anyone. And I'd like Sinn Féin to go into power with Fianna Fáil, but Fianna Fáil said they wouldn't. And if we had enough of Sinn Féin, TDs and all the independents, they could make a government, and a good government, not like them shower of shits fucking there.
Ted is also for a 5-tier plan that he had already worked out for the next 3 or 4 years, which was for education equality and also to get people back to employment, which is very, very important. We're trying to get infrastructure up around the north side, which he has fought for over the years, and also that people can get back to work and with a decent wage. I was up in the march there about 2 weeks back, and there was over 100,000 at this march. And up on the stage was real live human beings, children, their mothers and fathers, who were kicked out of their homes because they could not afford the rent. This has to stop, and this is where Ted Tynan comes in. He can do this. He can do it if he was given the chance. So we wish him now the best of luck, and thank you very much.
Hi, Greg.
Upstairs and do it already. Very good at the moment. Obviously, it's a long day ahead of us, I think, but some very interesting, very exciting counts coming in all over the country, and it's absolutely fantastic to see so many new candidates coming to the fore so quickly. it's a real sense of satisfaction that people like Mary Butler and Margaret Murphy O'Mahony and Jack Chambers, James Lawless, people we've been working with for 3 or 4 years before the local elections when nobody knew them. To see all them coming through in such a short space to become Dáil deputies is a wonderful, wonderful moment.
It's a real personal achievement for yourself here in Cork's South Centre, but also for the Fianna Party.
It's for the party, it's for the team. We had a very strong team behind us here. I mean, an incredible result of Cork's South Centre, 41% of the vote. Just extraordinary, and Michael did extraordinarily well, and of course, he's a first-class candidate. I think showing leadership across the country, really, that it just shows if you set yourself a challenge, there's no reason why you can't win 2 and 4 seaters and 2 and 3 seaters. I mean, if Kildare comes through, they've shown the world in terms of what can happen with Kildare South and Kildare North. Some stunning performance. Carla Kilkenny, the pundits were saying there could be 3 seats on there. I had a sneaky idea that might happen. I had a feeling that after the by-election, having Candice Carlow with Jennifer Moran O'Connor, I knew how strong she was. And the old story in Carlow is whoever tops the poll in Carlow keeps Carlow kind of thing. And that seems to be panning out with Bobby Aylward and John McGuinness winning.
And what do you think worked in your favour this time around?
Well, I think there's a lot of things. First of all, I think we had faith way back, going back to 2012, and we were consistent. And I think the local elections gave us a great platform. I think our message resonated with people. I think we kept our feet on the ground. We kept connected to communities. And that will be the strongest challenge, to stay connected with people and their everyday realities on the ground. I think the government not to touch too quickly. And we from way out, we could see the 2-tiered economic recovery evolving. We could see that many people didn't get the rhetoric of the recovery in their own daily lives, and regions couldn't either. And I think we, in terms of our core message of quality jobs, cutting costs for families, resourcing and strengthening communities, reasserting the principle of home ownership and ending the scandal of homelessness. They were key pillars of our platform that really, I think, struck a chord with the people on the ground and people on the doorstep.
How do you feel like the polls?
I think we might do a more extended interview upstairs.
How do you feel like coalition again?
We'll talk about all that upstairs now later. Brendan, thanks very much.
This is unbelievable. I mean, this is really unbelievable stuff. Are people really so desperate to get rid of Fine Gael that they're willing to vote back in the party who wrecked the economy in the first place? Or have we just forgotten that? Or are we trying to ignore it? Watching this now, it's almost as if the country is in the grip of some kind of national frenzied Stockholm syndrome. I wonder what's going to happen next. I really don't know. All I know is that if this was a film, you wouldn't believe it. And this is scarier than any horror film. Well, that's it. I guess we'll have to see. So, good luck.